Hello and welcome to 3 Point Stands podcast, where we don't claim to be experts. We just give our takes. Take it or leave it. We'll be fine either way. We coming to you tonight with the full crew on deck so that y'all can get a feel for the 2024 season of 3 Point Stands podcast. We got Juju, Vic, Brandon, Colleen, and Mr. Icy. Don't ask me why he calls himself that. I guess he'll explain that later. I don't call him that. None of us call him that, but we'll let him live. That's the true Mr. Icy Juju. Showing off the sets. But how y'all been handling this snow?
Man, look, I for one hate the snow. I hate it even more because I had to drive in it. But I'm doing what I'm gonna do because this snow is money season, so I take it.
All right. Seemed like everybody had a nice little remote day. I pretty much went out to try to work. I do a little bit of deliveries here and there. You know what I'm saying? Little Mr. Tony Montana of food over here. But we're going to get into these icebreakers. We're going to start off. Brandon came up with a good icebreaker for us. He was bringing up good old Draymond Green. He just got back. And now what's going on with him, Brandon?
Well, all I can say is I wish that people cared about me as much as Adam Silver cares about Draymond Green. Draymond Green, during this suspension, which was a little over a month, he threatened to retire. He said he was contemplating it, and Adam Silver talked him down off the ledge, said, "No, I can't let you do that. I have to ensure that you keep on giving up triple singles every single game." I don't know what to make of that. You know, it's not like the suspension was unfair. You know, we could possibly call what happened to John Moran unfair, half a season almost. But Draymond, he's done a lot to garner that suspension. Done a lot leading up to it. He got ejected for the game, suspended one game for stepping on Sabonis' head. He got 5 games for Rudy Gobert. And then this happened, which is, technically a swing. Um, either he's the most clumsy person on earth, or he needs to get a little better at how he plays the game. One of the two. But contemplating retirement is quite ridiculous in my personal opinion. He's entitled to his opinion and feelings. He's a human being, but I just think it's kind of ridiculous, personally.
Yeah, I hear you. That's wild. Like, I didn't know the reason he was contemplating it. When you brought it up to me, it sounds ridiculous to me. Like, you've been in the league this long. It is what it is. You know it's a problem. You've been suspended multiple times for different things. You know what it is. But we'll see what he does with it. Maybe he'll talk about it more on this podcast. The next icebreaker we're going to get into, we're going to talk about the Miami Heat situation. They just extended Eric Spoelstra. And it's a very interesting timing. And I'm going to bring Juju in on this. They seem to have waited for a timely period that's beneficial to all men that have been married and had to go through divorce. They waited till it was final. And they paid the man. What are your thoughts on this, Juju?
Shoot, I'm happy. What you mean? Who not happy? And more than anything, I'm saying I'm happy because I'm just tired of the gold diggers. So I don't want y'all to think I'm just anti-woman. I'm just tired of the gold diggers because there's some bag chasers out there who just hop on the bandwagon. So more than anything, first off, I'm going to say shout out to the Miami Heat because they know how to hold a brother down. Make sure they got his back, especially after all he done did for him. But more than anything, I'm like, I love this. This reminds me back to when the one soccer player was married to his wife and they got a divorce and she sued him. And come to find out, his mom really ended up owning like 80% of, his actual revenue that he was making. And I know for her, she was kind of butthurt. But I'm like, that's how you protect what it is you work for. What Rick Ross say? He say, you want with me shooting in the gym? So you don't get none of this cake that I got. This all for me. So, definitely I'm happy for Spoelstra. Obviously, he still end up going, he gonna come out of a little grip, but it's fine. What wasn't taxed was that $23 million that he just got from Miami. That's his. And more than anything, it's city boy life for Eric right now. So he out there in the streets with a nice little pocket full. So more than anything, I'm just glad to know that, the NBA, and I think it's always coming in the NBA. The NBA are always looking out for their players, always looking out for their coaches, kind of, with the same thing that Brandon was just talking about with the Draymond situation and how Adam Silver, he kind of really, he pressed Draymond like, hey, you doing too much right now. I got you. And that's the same thing I think this situation is bringing. It's bringing that I got you situation. Don't even worry about it. Figure what else it is that, them problems you got, and we're going to hold it down for you when you return. So shout out Miami Heat. Shout out Eric Spoelstra, City Boy Summer in the summer of 2024.
For sure. It's been a long time since me, Brandon, and Micah were able to be city boys like my nephews Juju and Vic. You know what I'm saying? Those the handsome guys on the street. If y'all see them on the street, ladies, step back. They ain't got no bread for y'all. They ain't trying to entertain y'all unless it's
no.
Right. You know what I'm saying? No bread for you. No bread. But we're gonna go ahead and get into some of these topics, and we want to welcome Micah, Colleen, and Brandon into the episodiums, if you will. I'm making up words as we go, but we're going to let them lead these topics off that we're going to go through the rest of the show with. So, Micah, you came up with a great topic when we met up and we're discussing topics that we wanted to discuss. And the Chicago Bulls seem to be in a bit of a conundrum with the lineup, with guys getting older, DeMar, Vooch, Zach LaVine coming back from injury, and people already saying or thought it was a foregone conclusion that he would be traded. I think me, Juju, and Vic, we talked about the possibility of him being traded or our thoughts on if he should be traded or if we should keep him. But now we need to figure out if the Chicago Bulls are going to be buyers or sellers now that he's back and they've been playing well. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I truly believe, and it's because of how they rolling, I think they're going to be buyers. If you look at two things, Kobe White is playing amazing basketball right now. He is up in all the statistical categories. We got minutes. Minutes are kind of right there where they are, but he's up in points. He's up in field goal percentages. He's up in rebounds. He's up in assists, and he's shooting. He's next to Caruso. He's the Bulls' statistical better 3-point shooter. And secondly, you got to look at Zach LaVine. As much of a cancer to the team, it appeared that Zach LaVine was when the season started, which led to them having a 5-12 record. With him out, I think it did two things for him. It allowed him to take a step back and realize that we're going to roll with or without you. Zach LaVine has missed those set of games, and the Bulls went on a really solid win streak. They had more wins than losses. When you look at Zach LaVine's statistical numbers, last season he played 77 games, averaged around 35 minutes. He produced 24.8 points a game, which is needed on a team that didn't have the real shot creator or point producer. This year he's in the 21 games that he has played, he's at 20.3 points. But with Kobe points being up, that kind of averages out. You sell Zach, yes, that means that you're really trying to sell and start over a rebuild. And if you are a true diehard Bulls fan, me personally, I can't just go through another poor rebuild because you need two things that's going to work with a rebuild. You need picks and you need cap. And the Bulls really don't have that many picks to do a true rebuild, unless they're willing to do the long game like OKC did. So I truly think that the Bulls are going to be buyers. They're going to finish the season out with Zach LaVine, stand on the team. They may get rid of one or two pieces now that they're past the December 15th deadline. They may look to move a Torrey Craig because him and Pat are kind of at the same statistical point. But I really do think that they're going to be buyers, but they're going to run it all the way back with the team that they have.
Right on. Makes sense to me. I feel like they are playing a lot better. Since Zach has gotten back, it seemed like he's sunk right into that situation where they've been moving the ball around. It hasn't stuck as much. I've seen certain situation where he does get a little zacky, dribbling the ball a little bit too much, but it's not often. I see him swinging the ball a lot. I see him getting the ball into Vooch, but I also see him backing off and allowing, like you said, Kobe White to do his thing, which is an amazing thing because it was Zach's team, but now it seems like it's everybody's team, which is an awesome thing. And if they are buyers, we can see if we can sneak back into the play-in status or higher. We still got a half a season. You never know. You could get up to the 8th or 7th seed. So I think those were great points. Excellent points, Micah. Appreciate you all for that. Oh, one other thing that I thought of when you were talking about Kobe. In 2024, Kobe is outscoring and hitting more threes minimally than Stephon Curry.
Yeah, that's so Steph Curry is arguably the best 3-point shooter that we've seen in our time. Maybe we'll go down as the greatest shooter. For Kobe to be hitting the threes that he's hitting when he's hitting them on a level that he's doing it is outstanding.
Absolutely. So we got another subject on an excellent, speaking of excellent rising stars, that I feel like this rising star is just like he can't win right now. But when healthy, he is a monster. And so I want to talk to Vic about Ja Morant. He just recently came back, and Memphis's team or their season has been pretty down, pretty bad. They were damn near Piston status, and that's probably too harsh, but they were pretty bad without Ja Morant. So, Vic, with Ja Morant missing the season, how do you feel this situation? How do you feel about this situation, for one?
It's probably the greatest thing that ever happened to Memphis. Probably the greatest thing that ever happened to Memphis. We are a good team with our star player. He's out for the rest of the year, and we're already bottom 3. It's great. That means we're going to get a top 3 pick next year. You're going to get a top 3 pick next year that's going to go on the side of them. We don't even necessarily have to draft that person. We can trade them for a star, something similar like a Zach LaVine, Put him on alongside with Ja Morant. Or you can go and get another star from somewhere else. Somebody would really desperately want that top pick. So to me, probably the greatest thing that ever happened to Memphis. This is, not as strong as what has happened for San Antonio, but this has happened in the past. This has happened with Los Angeles. Star players get hurt and teams play horrible. And next year they come back playing how they were, and they got a nice young player to go right next to them. So to me, the greatest thing that ever happened.
So this is what I will say. And I know we spoke about Ja Morant before. And I know in the last conversation we had about Ja Morant, we was really talking about the real downfall to Memphis. And what I spoke of in that conversation, we kept talking about Dylan Brooks. And I kind of was like, yo, we tweaking. Our main focus should be Ja Morant. And it was because of situations like this. And at that time, it wasn't an injury. He still had a whole nother court case that he was in the midst of. Now you add the injury into this situation where the court case is still going on, and that could possibly have its own penalty of itself. So obviously it's good for Memphis because now they're sinking. They're most likely going to tank this season and get that additional pick. But then what do you do with Ja Morant? Are you keeping him? Because to me, this just only brings what I said to the surface, that he is really the problem. In Memphis right now, how do you rely on him? How do you say, oh, we're going to build around him and bring in another superstar when, again, you're trying to make sure the superstar that you have is available?
Now, if
Go
I
ahead.
can jump in and piggyback off you, Jude, especially with how you feel about Ja Morant. If you look at what happened when he sat down last season, I think he missed, I don't remember the total number of games, but he missed a substantial amount of games last season. And when he was out of the lineup, the team started rolling. They started winning a lot of games. So you make a good point talking about what are they going to do with Ja Morant. It's unfortunate that the young rising talent has went down with this sort of injury. But it really gives that team and that office an opportunity to look at, all right, where are we gonna go? I know Vic said about getting that top pick, which is always important when you're looking at building and rebuilding and restructuring a franchise. But it really gives them an opportunity to say, okay, we can't rely on Ja because he's not here. Because you know that you can rely on Ja to score a basket in the time of need. With him out, now you got to look at where's that point production going to come from. Me being a Chicago homegrown, I like Rose over there because he was a good mentor. But are they going to insert him? Are they going to go out and find somebody else to bring, at least give half of that point production? It really gives them an opportunity to look at the team to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, great point, gentlemen. I think Vic kind of hit it on the nail where, I like what he said about it's almost a tank, but not on purpose, right? So your best player is injured. It allows you to do what Micah said. It allows you to assess the team, see who's part of the future, who's not a part of the future. You might be able to sell a few for some extra picks and still get that top 5 pick or number 3 pick like Vic predicts that they might get. And then you put a dog, either you draft a dog or you trade that pick, like he said, for a star level player. I think that's a good plan coming out of this season. And hopefully, all the off-court stuff is done because this was an injury. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt to come back stronger. I felt like he was going to take off, but he just didn't get the chance with the injury. So great points, fellas. We're going to move into the NFL, and we're going to start off with our hometown Chicago Bears. Not all of us are Chicago Bears fans. We got Brandon that's a 49ers fan, so he can shut his ear if he wants to. Vic is an Eagles fan, and they have the teams that are actually in the playoff. So shout out to y'all. Big ups to y'all for y'all supporting y'all teams and standing 10 toes down on them. But we're going to talk about the depressed nature that we're in right now. And we just fired Luke Getsy. And that's exciting for me. I was tired of how he was handling the offense. I think all of the Bears fans on here can agree that he wasn't it. So with him being fired, at least we got half of what most might have wanted. Some people wanted Eberflus fired, but I think he did a pretty good job with handling everything, even though he chose most of what happened. He chose Alan Williams as a coach. He chose some of the players that were traded, or like Claypool, and he had to sign off on that too with Poles. So, but he got the defense together. He held the team together, and guys like Jalen Johnson and Justin Fields and some of the other veterans, even Montez Sweat coming over, gives him rave reviews. And Colleen, I want you to talk on the Bears and the possible OC candidates that you would like to see coming up. But I think I seen a tweet from you who also talked about TJ Edwards when he was raving about Matt Eberflus. So I guess for the time being, we got the guy, and hopefully the defense takes another step next year. But we're going to talk about OCs. What are some names, some buzzworthy names that are coming up? So what are some OC candidates that they're saying that we're looking at right now?
Well, I'll start with the ones that we've already interviewed or have requested so far that are official. We got Shane Waldron, who is the OC of Seattle, who got the okay to interview with us because Pete Carroll is unfortunately no longer going to be the head coach of Seattle, which I thought he did a fantastic job. And I'm very on board with that. And also Colleen Kubiak, who is, I believe, the passing game coordinator or the QB coach for San Francisco. So we already got 2 candidates that come from the McVay-Shanahan coaching line, which I think is what we're going to be starting to see a lot more of. We're going to start seeing less of the Andy Reid, Belichick coaching tree, which isn't really working in today's NFL. We're seeing more of the McVay-Shanahan coaching tree and coaching style, which I'm more than okay with. But 2 names that I want to touch on that we have not officially requested or spoken with, but I want to see. My number 1 and hopefully favorite is going to be Darrell Bevell, who is the OC of Miami. But he was also with the Seattle organization as well. So he's developed Russ, and he's also helped develop Tua, who is right now in the playoffs. And Pep, was with, I believe, Indianapolis when Eberflus, around the same time Eberflus was the DC of Indy. And so he developed Andrew Luck and also Justin Herbert. So we got 4 of some of the great modern NFL quarterbacks that we haven't even touched on yet with the coordinators, along with 2 that we have seen so far. So, and Waldron also helped develop Russ, or coach Russ. So those are 4 that I'm seeing. I mean, obviously we're hearing Bieniemy and Greg Roman, but I'm really high on Bevell and Kubiak, to be honest.
Yeah, I think those are all good candidates. I'm thinking of some of the bigger names like the Ben Johnsons and things of and guys of that stature that everybody's raving for or everybody wants the Bears to sign. We have to understand that it's an OC position, and if they're already OCs,
exactly,
they're probably not going to want to move laterally, especially to a situation that the Bears are currently in. So the guys that Colleen is or has listed as her favorites, as well as that the Bears are interviewing, a lot of people feel like we're not swinging for the fences, but you can't swing for the fences when you bring the head coach back. And it seems like he's going to have a long tenure time to be there. In the press conference on Wednesday, I believe they said that they're going to allow Eberflus the time to build this team. So that pretty much confirmed or put a stamp that no one's going to be able to move up. So whoever's OC here shouldn't expect, Eberflus to be fired next year. So nobody's going to really want to come here that's already an OC in the situation and come lateral and then still have to wait until Eberflus is gone. But I like Clint Kubiak. I believe he was in 2021 with the Vikings, and Kirk Cousins balled out that season. A lot of people think he's never called plays, but he was the play caller that year, and the Vikings offense wrecked shop under Cousins. And
I mean, his dad too. He's got his dad's expertise. I mean, Absolutely. His dad hasn't been out of the game that long.
Yeah.
So,
and then I think, let me see here. There was one other one that you named. What's the other one?
Pep?
Nah.
Or Bevell?
Bevell's okay. But I think for the most part,
will be a lateral move too.
Yeah, it'll be a lateral move too. I like Clint Kubiak probably the most because of the fact he's coming from the 49ers system, and that should bring over that Kyle Shanahan offense that they thought they were getting with the LaFleur effect or whatever with Getsy, but we see what they were able to do with the 6th-round pick. So whatever's going to happen next year, whatever is going to happen with the quarterback situation, whatever is going to happen in the draft, we should have a decent offense from somebody that has experience, can pick the brain of his father, as well as has the resources back in the 49ers that a great coach in Kyle Shanahan, who's still young, who still works with and helps Mike
Talk about it.
McDaniels. They
Talk
have their
about it.
meetings and their. Say it again, Brandon.
I said, talk about it.
Yeah, whatever. Keep forgetting that you're a 49ers fan on here. But since Brandon wants to speak up, we're going to go ahead and move on into the wild card weekend. It is finally the wild card. The playoffs are here. Brandon, your team obviously is not in the wild card, which is great for y'all. But with the weather being crazy, Buffalo expecting 17 inches in the Bills versus Steelers game. The Chiefs-Miami game will be 3 degrees. They believe it'll be 3 degrees and a wind chill of -30. That sounds like the 49ers are just chilling, avoiding a lot of BS in cold weather games and enjoying that San Fran weather. But what are your games or one of your favorite wild card matchups for this weekend, since you won't be watching your team?
I still, even despite the weather, I would have to say it has to be for me the Chiefs versus the Dolphins. I believe that the weather's obviously going to affect with the ball and everything, but this game could still potentially be big time as far as running the score up. It could be a barn burner. Still could be, depending on how hot they keep the football. Chiefs got a lot to prove right now. They got a lot to prove. Nobody's scared of them. I told my cousins that like a month ago before they started all these games losing and stuff like that. No one's afraid of the Chiefs right now, and it's turned out to be true. No one is scared of them. I don't know many people that are picking them to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, and that's a first for since Patrick Mahomes' era. And on top of that, Miami is they're explosive offensively. I mean, Tua has a lot to show. Coming from warm weather, playing in warm weather, college, pros. So we'll see what happens there. Kansas City might eke it out based on experience. It's hard to play an Arrowhead. But I'm very interested to see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be that surprised if there was an upset because Chiefs have a lot to prove. They have most to prove, probably more than anyone in these playoffs. I can't wait to see it. Mahomes, he's gonna go. If he goes down, he's gonna go down fighting.
For sure. Colleen, what is your favorite matchup of this weekend?
My undercard matchup that I'm very low-key ready to see it, also an upset, is Buffalo-Pittsburgh. Same thing as the Kansas City Miami game due to weather, although not necessarily the temperature, but they're going to get hit with the storm that we just got. In fact, they've already gotten some, and it's supposed to be so bad that they may have to move the game to Indianapolis. Like it's the chatter's been picking up that they may have to move it to Indy because the storm going east is they're gonna get hit with like a foot of snow or more, and they've already hired or asking people to go to Highmark and shovel the snow in anticipation of the game. But to kind of piggyback on Brandon's point that nobody's scared of the Chiefs, I can kind of see Pittsburgh kind of throwing a wrench in a little bit of Buffalo's plans, because even though TJ Watt being out, which is a huge, huge blow to Pittsburgh's defense, but no one's really scared of Buffalo either. Like, Buffalo's kind of had a mid-season. They beat the teams that they were supposed to beat, but they also lost the teams that they were supposed to beat. So I wouldn't be totally surprised to see Pittsburgh, if not, I wouldn't say a barn burner, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Pittsburgh in a low-scoring game, possibly upsetting Buffalo.
Great take. Great take. Micah, what teams will you be watching this weekend?
So mine are for personal family reasons. Everybody know I'm a diehard Bears fan. Through and through, it don't really matter. But I'm in a house divided. I have a significant other that loves Green Bay. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me why. She doesn't have her mind right, and she has a family member that loves Dallas. So I am going to be watching that. Now, in my heart of hearts, I'm a hope that Dallas takes it because I just can't, for anything inside of me, root for Green Bay. But furthermore, this is actually a makeup game for Dak. Back in the 2017 playoffs, Dak lost in the playoffs. He's 2-4 in the playoffs right now, and he lost to Green Bay back in 2017. So I think this is like that redemption game for Dak. And the Cowboys, every year is their year. But this game in particular is for Dak to come back and prove that he probably should have won that game back in 2017. I don't remember what the score was, but I really do I'm hoping for Dak to come out on top to take down the waste management group. I mean, the Green Bay group. And I like Dak as a quarterback. I don't like what he does in the playoffs, obviously, but I like Dak as a quarterback. So I'm watching for Dallas. His touchdown to interception numbers in the playoffs is 11-5. That's solid. He's thrown over his six playoff appearances. He's thrown 1,500 yards. So I hope that comes out. This is Jordan Love's coming out. I don't think that not to say that he's a bad quarterback. I just don't think that he's ready for the big lights of the wild card. He got lucky with even being there. We had a piss poor game plan that last game where we should have won, but unfortunately we couldn't knock Green Bay out of their playoffs. But I think Dak and the Dallas Cowboys are going to do exactly what they're supposed to do until Green Bay go hit the couch, go hit the showers. It's time for Disneyland. So I'm looking forward to that game. And just as a side note, I'm also looking forward to the Philly and the Tampa Bay game. I think Jalen is going to come back and do what he's supposed to do.
All right, for sure. Seem like you're a little nervous about your point. You don't believe in yourself because you're popping something in the background. I don't know what's going on.
Man, it's
sound like something else was going on, and I was like,
man,
maybe I should take you off the camera.
Green Bay always makes me nervous. It's like when they own, and when they off. So I just don't know where is it going to lead. I'm hoping that this is not another game for them, but Green Bay just makes me nervous. In the games that I think that Green Bay ain't gonna show up, they show up and they show out. And in the games that they supposed to just lose, so. But I'm rooting for Dallas. I'm rooting for Dallas.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. So, Vic, I want to talk to you real quick about something. Real quick, there's a topic that you brought up, but just over the last few days, we're going to talk about somebody from the Tennessee Titans. Vrabel was just let go, or they parted ways, however you want to call it, after a disappointing season or whatnot. And the owner came on, raved about him. Everybody thought that he was going to the Patriots after that, et cetera. The owner actually named a few people in their press conference, but they didn't name one guy. At least I didn't hear it, but I think he glazed over his name. And in that press conference, Derrick Henry, he started talking and he started doing I don't know what you would call it. It almost seems like a goodbye. If you watch that press conference and you brought it up to me, what was your thoughts on that press conference and how did you feel about the things that Derrick Henry had to say?
Well, to me, yeah, like you just said, it sounded like he's clearly saying goodbye. He was saying, thank you to kitchen staff. He was saying goodbye to equipment managers. He said goodbye to everybody in the building possible. And you don't do that at the end of the season unless you ain't coming back. So to me, it sounds like he's leaving, which would make sense because you ain't gonna win there. You never was gonna win there. Even when you had the people before they traded them all to the Eagles, which thank you by the way, they wasn't gonna win no way. So it didn't really matter. So he's about time for him to go before he get too old. There's plenty of teams that would love to have him. Baltimore runs through 5 running backs a year. That would look great next to Lamar Jackson. You got Chicago, who could definitely use him to take them to the next level. You got it's just a long list of teams that would love to have a player like Derrick Henry to complement a good passing offense. So to me, it sounds like it's about time. He should have left sooner, unfortunately.
Yeah, I hear you. It did seem like it didn't even seem like he was making eye contact. It did seem like it was a foregone conclusion. He was smiling and he enjoyed thanking everybody, all 3,500 people that he thanked while he was on the mic or whatnot. But it did seem like it's an end of an era. And I'm not sure if it's just that offensive line, but he didn't have as great of a Derrick Henry season as we expected. He had a few Derrick Henry type of games, but it just didn't seem like that run game could really get going. And it feels like this team might be breaking up possibly this.
They didn't have a whole lot of anything going, so it didn't didn't really matter. They didn't have a whole lot of anything going.
Right. Actually, facts. Yeah, that team was confusing, but great points. Let me get Juju back in there. I think he just somehow got popped off. So we got the playoffs coming up, and we want to bring everyone in this conversation. And as we talk about the playoffs, obviously we end the playoffs with the Super Bowl. So I want to pass this around and get everybody kind of involved and get your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Let us know from the playoff teams. Obviously, our team isn't there, so this is kind of hard to talk about with Bears fans. But who would be your Super Bowl favorite? And I'll go ahead, since Vic left off the last point, I'm going to go ahead with Brandon and let him talk his stuff because I know who he's going to pick.
Playoffs? You want to talk about playoffs? You know the pick is. I wish I had my hat with me. I knew I should have brought it. The San Francisco 49ers. And I'm hoping that we get to see the Baltimore Ravens so we can get that revenge. Everyone thinks that they're such a better team. When, if you look at the game, yeah, they did all right. But I'm not scared of them because I respect them. I'm not scared of them. NFC, Cowboys, Packers, it don't matter who you throw at us. Cowboys are easy W for us. I love being the Cowboys. I love it. I might wear my hat like Stephen A. if we face them again. I'm not afraid of nobody in NFC, honestly. And not to say, I'm not looking ahead to the next game. You got to play the next game, whoever's in front of you. But just being realistic, if we play at our best, only team I had a little trepidation about was the Eagles, and we totally handed them. So I'm not really afraid of anybody in the NFC. In the AFC, I mean, you always have to respect the Chiefs. Find a way to get there, which they very well could. You always got to respect them. I do believe that this is the year for Lamar Jackson. I do believe with the way the Ravens are playing, the type of football they're playing, the way their defense is playing, the way their offense is rolling, and letting him do what he does, and not just using him as a scapegoat, but actually using him to his full potential. They're going to be hard. They're going to be hard to beat in the AFC. I don't see anybody beating them, so we'll see what happens. But I'm going. I believe my Niners are going to eke it out. I believe when we play our best football, nobody can beat us.
I'm gonna have to let my nephew counter that point. I don't know if he was paying attention. I think he threw a shot at your Eagles, nephew.
Ain't nobody worried about San Francisco. Try to keep your quarterbacks healthy.
I mean, that's the only reason y'all won last year, But
yeah, it ain't like they was out before the game started. That's part of the game. You don't cry about we had no quarterbacks. Well, you should have had more.
Yeah, man. That'll be interesting. That's gonna be a sight to see if they make it to the NFC Championship game again. That's gonna be an episode to remember watching y'all go back and forth. Juju, let me bring you back in here. I want to get your thoughts on this here. Juju, I want to get your thoughts.
Yes,
what with the playoffs going on? I think you got bumped off by mistake, but we're talking about Super Bowl predictions, trying to bring everybody in on the conversation. The 49ers fan talked and threw a low jab at the Eagles. The Eagles fan, Vic, slapped them right back. You know what I'm saying? So they talking they junk. Obviously, we Bears fans, so we can't really talk nothing. But what is your prediction? Whether it's bear down, baby. What is your prediction of the Super Bowl teams and the eventual winner?
Man, that's tough. That's tough. And crazy reason why I say that's tough is because the same reason Vic was just saying, you got to have enough quarterbacks. I think this year in the league really, expose or show the weakness of teams in their depth at the quarterback position. I think this showed a lot of teams are they're so gung ho at trying to find that generational guy. But if they're generational, everybody can't have a generational guy. So let's be realistic. But it's hard to choose that. Because I'm like, it's really whoever got the healthiest quarterback. Currently, I'm a big Browns fan. I don't know why. Joe Flacco is definitely tearing the league up. I think if Joe Flacco was to go, I ain't going to say win the Super Bowl, but at least go to the Super Bowl, hopefully win. Good luck to him. It could do something for the throwback quarterback because I think that's what the league needs. So I think that could kind of open up a lot of teams' eyes. So I guess since my team of the Bears aren't going to be there, if I'm going to cheer for something, I got to cheer for something where I feel like it'd be the best in the league, for the best of the league. At a favoritism, probably the Lions. I like the Lions team. I definitely want to Colleen, don't frown like that. I definitely want to make our division look good. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, I can't be just hating teams just to hate a team. Like, I got to have a reason to go with what. So it can't just be full of emotion all the time.
No. I agree.
So I'm like, I'm gonna go for the Lions because I think that they're a good team. Man, hey, the Bears beat them, so it makes the Bears look better. So
true.
Come on, it just is what it is. But
what's your issue with the Lions, Colleen? Go on here.
I just can't fully root for them because they're in our division, and we should have beat them, and we should have swept them. But that's beside the point. My dark horse is going to be Cleveland. For the same point that Juju pointed out, that got to do, Flacco rising from the dead, and leading Cleveland to the playoffs. But if I had my dream matchup, and it would kind of intensify Kubiak's chances to be our OC, I would go with San Francisco versus Baltimore. But don't count out. I hate saying this. I really hate saying it, but don't sleep on Kansas City, because, again, like Brandon said, they are the defending champions until they are not. And they find a way to get in the playoffs, and B, thrive in the playoffs. So that 49ers versus Baltimore would be my top matchup. I do have Baltimore winning by a touchdown. Not for lack of trying by San Francisco, but agreed. I think it's Lamar's year, both for MVP and a Super Bowl. And just so Green Bay can't win anything.
Micah, I'm gonna let you give your two teams that you predict will be in the Super Bowl, and then we'll hold off because I want everybody to give their actual winner so we can have that clip of each individual person's prediction of who will win. But I want, after Micah gives his two teams that will be in the Super Bowl, I want Vic to be able to tell us, since the Eagles were in the Super Bowl last year, I want him to give us, or end the show with giving us, who he thinks the best matchup would be for his Eagles if they made it back again. So, Micah, go ahead and give your teams that you think will be in the Super Bowl.
Micah, you on mute.
Just talk about
it. My bad. Realistically, I think it's going to be a Baltimore and San Fran. I'm a Lamar fan. I just think that he's phenomenal. And he's what I think a quarterback. You need a quarterback like him. So I like to see him. I think he does some really good things on the field, and I love it. And I think San Fran is the team that's going to come out on that side. So that's why I see it. I don't want it to be that way. I like an underdog team. And again, I know Colleen probably gonna look my way. I wouldn't mind underdog Detroit getting pretty close.
I'd rather Detroit than Green Bay.
Oh, most definitely. I would never hope Green Bay do anything that's ever productive or positive for that organization. Yeah. I hope they go down in flames and Lambeau, somebody just mess it up. But I wouldn't mind Detroit making it. Detroit and probably a Buffalo. I know that isn't a fun game to watch, but I wouldn't mind seeing that as a game. But I do believe that it's going to be Baltimore and
San Francisco.
That's actually a dope combo that you just thought about. I haven't thought about that at all. Detroit versus the Bills, two teams that have never won the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty dope.
that would be a script thing.
It would. I mean, they took this long to script it. I mean, if they was going to script it, you got the Lions not winning anything significantly since, 92, 91, 92, and then the Bills going back to back Super Bowls and losing.
Yeah.
The script was written way back then. So maybe, but that would probably be I don't even know if people will really watch that because I don't know, but it would be interesting.
I think they would.
And do it for Jim Kelly. One of the best quarterbacks, in my opinion, to never win one.
That does sound scripty.
I just feel bad rooting for black quarterbacks for some reason. I don't know why. It's like want to be like, yeah, nigga, but then I'll be like, that might just be a little prejudice. And like I got white friends, and it's never like So I feel like, you always got to root for the sturdy Tom Brady, ish quarterback. Like, come on, play with those black dudes, and we're gonna have white versus black Pro Bowl, and we might put you on our team. Come on.
Right on.
Vegas would hate Detroit Buffalo. Side note.
Yeah,
Vegas would hate it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's ugly. But Vic, I want to let you end this portion off before we give our final Super Bowl winning predictions, so we can have those clips, so we can go back and see what the predictions lead us to. I'm a little somber because my Bears ain't there, so I don't want to name anybody, to be honest. It's Bears or die. But Vic, can you let us know who you think the optimal or your favorite matchup would be if your Philadelphia Eagles make it back to the Super Bowl? Mute. You on mute?
You're muted, Vic. You're muted.
I was saying, who would I want them to go against? I probably would have said Texans, but that's just wishful thinking. But realistically, who I think they're going to go against is pretty much the consensus of everybody is Baltimore. Baltimore's defense is entirely too good. You got Roquan Smith, who has taken on leadership of this team and really given them a for sure identity. So that, on top of the fact that Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson, I don't really see a lot of teams beating them, because if you're really thinking about it, a decent portion of the AFC is really tumbling into the playoffs. Nobody, to me, personally, is just straight out like, oh, they're showing they're really good outside of Baltimore.
It sounds like a good matchup, actually, and it probably gives Juju his maximum desired matchup of Negro on Negro crime. The double black quarterback, double back-to-back. Ooh, crispy.
Listen,
it's going to be chicken at that Super Bowl party. It's going to be all time.
Listen, owner's going to be in a box, lit. Lamar, it's for you. Like, Lamar, and then the crazy thing, because Lamar want to get paid. He ready to get paid. So I'm with him. I'm all about the money. So it'd be hard not to go for him. But I'm telling you, Josh Allen, you let him get loose.
Yeah,
him and Diggs, one day they'll click.
One day. Yeah, he got paid already, but that Super Bowl bonus that he ain't never seen before, that's gonna be a good thing to go on vacation with after you win that Super Bowl. He got the trophy. Lamar Jackson gonna be able to finally use that, put that, what is it, 250 million to use in the off season.
Yeah,
that boy cashed out. But now I gave y'all some time. I already know what two people are going to say as their Super Bowl winning prediction. So I'm going to start with the people that aren't in the playoffs, or the fans of teams who are not in the playoffs. We're going to start with Colleen. Who do you predict will win the Super Bowl?
Okay. I'm going to go San Fran, Baltimore. It's going to go to overtime. And it's going to be Baltimore 29, San Fran 22.
Nice. I'm going to pass this one off to Micah. Let's get you up here. What you thinking, big dog?
I, too, am going Baltimore, San Fran, with Baltimore coming out on top. I believe that it's going to be I'm calling it now. The defense going to get him one. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking Baltimore 32, San Fran 27.
somewhat of a close one, but
Mhm.
almost a shootout. I
Mhm.
hear you. Jew,
Yes, sir.
Super Bowl prediction winner.
Mm,
I know I don't want to talk about him either.
I know. I truthfully don't care. So I'm just going Joe Flacco. I'm sticking with Joe Flacco. I'm telling you, he got my heart right now. He got me. Joe Flacco. And I got in fantasy, I picked him up off the wire. He snapped. Because I had Herbert, he went down. Well, no quarter, because every quarterback was going. Flacco came in just like a little angel. Just peaceful, calm.
Oh my God.
God no. So I'm going Browns. I'm going Browns. And Myles Garrett, he just a dog. I don't care what nobody say. He a beast. That dude's a freak athlete. He deserve to get him on because he locking that defense down
Amari Cooper.
almost single-handed.
Yeah.
And Amari Cooper been snapping and that tight end. Like they've been going for like crazy stats past couple games.
Cooper's been having a rebound.
Like 1 week, the dude had three touchdowns and like 256 receiving yards. What?
Yeah, man.
Who left you so open? Like at how many yards does the defense go? Like, okay, somebody get that dude.
Yeah,
somebody get him.
Let's double him.
Yeah, like 2 people get him. Okay, he got 200, 256 to 3 TDs.
All right, so we're going to go to our 2 playoff teams. And out of respect, again, for Vic, since he is the fan of the team that was in the Super Bowl last year and the team that beat Brandon's squad, the San Francisco 49ers. Brandon, you can go first. And Vic will end the show with his prediction. Go ahead, Brandon.
In the now viral words of Cat Williams, you guys have an unnatural allegiance to losers. It's not like y'all. It's not like y'all. You already know I'm rolling with the San Francisco 49ers. I just don't see any team in the NFC beating them. Now, I did have a nightmare a few nights ago. A nightmare scenario in which the Detroit Lions somehow made it to the Super Bowl and they beat my Niners. But I don't see that happen. This is reality. And I do believe they're going to face the Baltimore Ravens. But I'll say this, and I don't think they deserve it. I don't think they deserve to even be in the playoffs because of how they played down this whole season. But Buffalo can beat anybody. Not only can they beat anybody in the AFC, they could trounce anybody in the AFC when they're firing on all cylinders, including Baltimore. I do believe it's going to be Baltimore, but I would not be surprised if Buffalo eked up in there. So I'm going Niners over Baltimore. I think we're going to make an example out of them. Saying we made an example out of everybody. I'm standing right here, right now. I'm being bold. 35-21. Blowout.
Ooh.
That's some respect on it.
Right. Wait. The Bills can beat anybody, but they're gonna get blown out in the Super Bowl. That's a take. That's a take. That's a homer take. Sounds like it. So Vic, I know you don't believe in whatever magic he just constructed. So leave us with your Super Bowl prediction.
I ain't got no score. You know, it's only one team. There's only one team. And then at that, I'm sorry. I forgot I was talking to people who are the losers. I'm sorry. We have Super Bowls in recent history. I don't know. When was the last time? What, 40 years? 40 years? for both? Yeah. No, I'm sorry. We are the recent winners. Been in the Super Bowl 3 times in the last 10 years. So I could be off with that math, but I think I'm the only
times in the last 20 at least. So
yeah,
you're right.
At least the last 20. I'll
right.
say that. But now it'd be different if we had like a Patriots fan over here. I'd be like, okay, you got some leeway over here. You know, former Chicago Bulls like fan, like still believing in the glory days. But no, it's only one team right now. It's Philadelphia. Actually, I will do a score. Philadelphia, Baltimore. I'm actually gonna go 2017 Philly. Yeah, that's where I'll go. But you know, you guys can enjoy the Usher's performance. You know.
Oh, no.
Yeah, man.
You ain't have to shit on the Bears like that, though.
I was
I'm
waiting
sorry.
for you
I'm
to say
sorry.
something.
I'm sorry. It was a casualty award.
You talk
Everybody
about
was in
your
the way.
Eagles.
Hey,
Everybody was
let
in the
me
way.
ask a
Everybody
question.
got sprayed. I'm sorry.
You ain't
Everybody
sorry.
here is a Bears fans instead of Vic, right?
Yeah.
All the rest of y'all Bears fans.
Yep.
Okay, just making sure because my team has more rings than all of y'all teams combined.
But yeah,
But
we go
I'm
back
just
in the
making sure.
'80s, pal.
Just making sure.
Go Browns.
Hey, me and Juju, we going for the team that shares the same initials, CB.
Yep.
We want to see
Come on.
I want to see the drunkest, craziest fans out of Cleveland. Because after Baker Mayfield won that game, and they had the bar, they had the cooler of beer locked up. I don't know if y'all heard about that story, but after the game, they was running the streets like they won the Super Bowl, and that one bar had that. I think it was Coors or something like that, and they broke that thing open and they got it cracking. I think Cleveland fans in the Super Bowl in Vegas.
I want Joe Flacco to go on there and do that. Cleveland, this is for you. Boy, get it lit. Just be like, I came back just for y'all. What you talking about? The Browns.
Man, that's wild.
I wouldn't mind seeing Cleveland there. I ain't gonna hold you. Now that you're talking about it, I wouldn't mind seeing Cleveland and Flacco.
Oh, that's what I'm
make
saying.
it happen.
Let Flacco do a Kurt Warner moment.
Yeah.
Listen, he already know what his job is. He know what he got to do.
I don't want to
He's
see
been there,
him
done
there.
that.
Hey, I got one.
I'm not gonna lie.
I got one. We ain't even thought about this one. Cleveland, Detroit Super Bowl.
That'll be one of the worst rated Super Bowls.
Struggle cities. Struggle cities.
Listen, everybody been repeating Detroit since I said, listen, Detroit nice. They be sleeping on Detroit. Chicago got their numbers, so they be trying to discredit them, and they was a little shaky, but that offense is going. I'm telling you, they gonna be that D-line. What's his name? Hutchinson. That boy a beast.
Yeah, Hutchinson.
Now they might be a little weak, with the DBs, so you can maybe get them deep. But they offenses, man, if they get rolling, it's hard to stop them. Gibbs then turned out to be a real good pickup for them.
Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking of if it was Cleveland and the Lions in the Super Bowl, what would the mayor's bet? Like, what would the bet be? Would it be Flint water and what Jakeem Noah say? What is there to do in Cleveland?
You don't go to Cleveland on vacation.
You don't go to Cleveland on vacation. So what do you do? Give away dogs? I don't know. That's gonna be trash. But I will watch every minute of the Browns versus the Lions Super Bowl just to see fans in the stand act a fool.
I agree.
But that's cool. We're gonna wrap up the show on that note. Thank you all who watch, like, comment, and subscribe to 3 Point Stands Podcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, as well as YouTube, Spotify as well. And we'll be uploading this episode for the masses. We'll be breaking down segments, putting up shorts, because we got a lot of clips, a lot of funny quotes, and a lot of great moments from this episode. I appreciate the crew as usual, and you all will be seeing them throughout the year, and they will be creating segments and things on their own. So look forward to brand new content coming soon. And as we always say at 3 Point Stands Podcast, stand for what you believe in. Peace.